Hi, my name is Elaine McCarty. I'm the mother of Mario Michael Brown, who was killed in February of 2010. He was murdered, shot multiple times. He was shot 9 times, along with a friend of his, Sherry Martin, and she was also shot 18 times for her. It's 16 now. So it's going on to be 6 years since my son has been gone. We went through a lot of changes, a lot of ups and downs with our feelings. We miss him a whole lot. Holidays, birthdays. You never really get over someone being gone. You miss them so much. You get through the pain for the most part, depending on how much support you have. But you never stop, ever, in your entire life thinking about your loved ones. That's gone, especially when they die of in that horrific way. Mario was my oldest son. I have 6 children. He's the oldest of the boys. And he was my God, just a great kid. Very outgoing, outspoken, but used a lot of tact and not wanting to hurt people's feelings. He was a really good kid. He was a goofy kid also. He liked to mess around, liked to play, liked to play pranks and different things. He kind of got sidetracked in going to school. He didn't know if he wanted to go to college or not, but he decided and made up his mind that he wanted to because he was a really intelligent kid. And he came to me one day and was like, "Ma, I'm kind of messing up in school, but I want to get my life together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go away to college." And I was like, "Oh, that's great, Mario. What college are you going to go to?" He said, "Well, I was thinking about Tuskegee." And I kind of chuckled because I was like, "You got to have a nice grade average to get there." And so I told him. He was like, "Well, you said to have faith." So he said, "I'm going to write a letter to the dean or whatever." And to be honest, I didn't think he was getting in that school because he had a grade average of 0.1. So how in the world are you going to get in there? This boy went and wrote a letter. He went to all his high school teachers, bribed them with pizza so they can get him some nice grades to get out. And they got him out, and here comes this letter, making a story short. Here comes this letter saying that he was accepted. I had no idea. Don't ask me how he did it. But he did it, and he was on the right track. It was absolutely awesome. At that point, I was like, you can do anything you set your mind to. So he said, "I want to get into the medical field. I want to be a doctor." And I say, "That's fine." At that point, because how he got into school, I was like, "Good, you should." He also was into taking care of himself, his body. He loved the gym. And that's because he liked the way his body looked. And so did a lot of other, the girls. And he had a personality that would just draw you to him. It was just great. He had lots of friends. But on this particular day when he came home from school, Mario, it was strange because he never not stayed with me at home. And it was just kind of strange. In this particular day, he didn't stay with me. He actually forgot he was supposed to go back to school, back to Tuskegee, and he forgot his ID to get on the plane. So he had to stay over. And we always call him, and I was like, "Why are you still here? You need to be at school." "Oh, I'm going the next day, but I'm going to go over to Sherry's house. I'm helping her get her business together." She was going into daycare. So I was like, "Okay, that's fine." So that was Monday. I was talking on the phone with my sister Monday night. Mario called me about earlier that night, maybe like 8-ish or 9-ish, and he had put Sherry on the phone, and we all was talking. And I hung up, and I was telling my sister how I wanted to, pray a little bit more for my children, I went to work that Tuesday, which was the 15th, I believe, and I got a phone call, and it was my daughter screaming from the top of her lungs. And I could hardly understand what she was saying, but she just kept saying, Mario is gone, Mario's gone. And when she said those words, gone, the word gone, I just completely, and I'm a person that usually keep my composure. I'm a cake decorator at a food chain in Milwaukee, and I screamed to the top of my lungs. And I'm usually the one that's helping someone else get their composure. But at that point, I screamed. I screamed and screamed. And I grabbed the phone, because they came and told me I took the work phone. And I needed to call his phone. And I kept calling his phone, thinking that he was going to answer, praying that he would answer. And there was another person on the end, and they said, Mario is gone. Everything in me just began to almost shut down. I was shaking, I was nervous, I was not myself. I can truly say I was not myself. And a coworker said, let me take you home. I say, no, take me to where he is. So I had her to drop me off. And I saw my sister on the corner with her head down. She had walked from the scene, from the place where he was killed. And she just shook her head, and I ran the rest of the way. And when I got in the house, it was people there. And I said, where is my son? Please, where is he? Everybody was crying. Everybody was. And I remember Sherry's dad saying, Sherry is gone too. And for a second, I was like, oh my God, that's right. But I couldn't focus on anybody but him. And I said, please, just where is he? But by that time, the morgue came and got him. And I can't even remember seeing the house or what it looks like. My mind was just gone. You can't think anymore. You're not you anymore. This pain takes over. But a lot of my relatives was there. And then I found out how he was killed. And to be shot in the head and the heart and the leg and the liver and the kidneys it was so much. And I remember just getting in the middle of the street and rolling in the middle of the street. I mean, I was rolling in the middle of Florist because I didn't know what to do. I couldn't hold him. I couldn't say, I'm here. I couldn't say, okay, Mama got this. He was gone. He was gone. And the only thing I could remember is I gotta forgive the person that did this, because I can't allow this to take me down. I couldn't. And I don't know why. I was just thinking, I gotta forgive this person. I gotta forgive this person. Mario would have wanted me to do that. I'm so serious. He would have. But more than that, because of my faith, I believe it was just God. I know it was. I didn't hate the man that did it, but I just hated what happened. I was angry, and I needed someone to tell me they were sorry. We got to the morgue, and they tried to tell me, they didn't want me to see certain parts of Mario because they said he was shot in the head, so they don't even, they just show you pictures. And it didn't look like he was. I was like, thank you, Lord. It didn't look like he was shot in the head because his face was still the same and just looking like Mario, Rio, what his friends call him. After that, we had a series of, getting the bodies and things together. You grieve, but you shouldn't have to worry. And Mario's death was just, it affected every cell in my body. And I was trying to stay strong, but everything in my body was shaking. I felt as if my blood was just shaking. It was like, when is this going to go away, God? When is this pain? And on top of that pain, we had got the money to bury him. And I want to tell this because I want you to understand. We got the money to bury him. We was getting ready to, take care of business. I know I'm moving fast, but I want to tell this part. Someone just came in the house and stole every dime we had. They stole I said, how in the world could that happen? So not only were we grieving, we was worrying about how we were going to put my son at rest. I was not going to go to cremation. I couldn't. It wasn't anything in my faith that said I should not. That was not the issue. I did not want him. I needed his body to stay intact because I needed to remember him. If cremation is okay for other people, it's fine. I have nothing against that, but I couldn't. So we didn't know what to do. All I remember is going to the beauty shop and they say, well, just go get your hair done. We didn't have the money. Everything was by faith. We didn't have the money. And this guy walked in the beauty shop and he gave me all the money. He walked in. He said, I heard what happened. He gave me so many thousands of dollars. An hour before we were supposed to bury this boy that they told us we wasn't going to be able to bring him, he came in and he gave us this money. So I was just thanking and praising God for that. We buried him. But I wish I could have buried the grief, but I couldn't. I had to be strong for my kids, but I recognized that I couldn't. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to try to be strong because I'm not strong in myself. So whatever happens, happen. I guess whatever I was doing was maybe normal. I couldn't go to sleep. I would try to sleep. I would wake up and I would just pray and say, God, can someone please say sorry from that family? And in some turns of event, his father, the man that killed my son, he came, his name was Joe. We set up a meeting. He said, I want to come and say I'm sorry to you and answer any questions you want to know. And the only thing I wanted him to say was he was sorry. I needed that. I felt better because somebody from that side said they were sorry. And then I got a letter from Jonah, the one that killed Mario and Sherry. And it helped me. Some people say it wasn't sincere, but man, when you're a mom or you're in that position, you'll take anything to just say, I'm sorry for doing this. I needed him to say he didn't mean to do it. I needed him to say he was just sorry. And he did. I started getting better after that. I knew I was going to get better. I knew that I had to move forward, not just for me, for my kids, not just for my kids, for other people. And I knew that one day this pain was going to have to turn into a purpose. But I wanted that pain to leave, and it wasn't leaving soon enough. I would try to sleep my pain away. I couldn't. So things would just happen, and I would just connect with people, and I would go to different places to vent where they had homicide victims, where they can talk about it. And when I got there, I had to help all of them, so that was good. It was awesome. But I needed to still get it out, and I cried, and I cried, and I cried, and I cried, and I talked about it. And I was able to get through it because of loved ones, friends, family, church members, leaders in the church, our pastors. They loved me. They loved me enough to let me grieve as long as I needed to. And Joe, which was Jonah's dad, it was sad what he wanted to do to himself because of what his son did. And this murder was not a gangbang or any of that. This murder, this boy, the one that killed my son, had 4 master's degrees. Mario was getting his degree. Sherry already had her degree. So it was a decision that Jonah made and should not have made. He had enough time to diffuse it. He had enough time to leave his house and from where he lived way in Brookfield and come way on the north side on Flores. He had enough time to just not do it. But he wouldn't listen to the voices that I know he heard saying, turn around, don't do this. All the good upbringing that he had, he threw it out the window, and he acted on impulses like animals act on impulses. And he let that take over him, and he killed 2 innocent people. And I know that he wished he had not done it, but he don't wish it as much as we wish he hadn't. Because my son has left a son who cannot get over it. And he tells me every time he sees me, Grandma, if I had been there, I would have stopped it. Well, he was almost there, but my son was adamant about him going home that night, to the point where he was like, he is not staying here. So maybe he knew something. God knew something. He shouldn't have been there. But I'm talking to the people that's going through this, or you might know someone that's going through this. You will get through it with some help. It might take a while, and there's no time on it. But I said to myself, I have to get out of here because I have to move forward. It's life on the other side. It's life. And I had to move forward for Mario, for Jamarion, which is his son, for Sherry's family, and for all the people that's going to hear this. You can make it. You can move forward. You don't have to hurt yourself. I thought about just being gone. I thought about just saying, I want to just go. I don't even want to be here. And I had 5 kids left. But this pain is so great. It makes you feel like it takes you into this room. It takes you into this world where you think it's just you. And it's like it won't make a difference if you're gone. But it will make a difference, because I wouldn't be here to tell my stories and other of us. Wouldn't be here to tell our stories. So I'm glad that this pain has been turned into a purpose. And when we stop the homicides in this city and cities all over the world, and God began to heal our city, but we have to heal our city because he gave us the power to do it. But when we just come together and we say, no more of this, our sons and our daughters and our husbands and our wives dying anymore, and we have to do something. So if we can reach 1, we can reach 2, each one reach 1. You've heard it before. But I'm happy. I'm better now. Do I miss him? With everything that's inside of me. Every holiday, every chance, every time I see someone down the street, it reminds me of him. Every time I see a mechanic fixing someone's car, because that's what he did, it reminds me of him, that he would just stop and just fix someone's cars. He was in a situation at the school in Tuskegee where it was a guy in a restaurant, and he just taunted Mario. And when the guy got down the road, his car stopped, and Mario saw him, and his friends were saying, don't stop for him, he's a racist. Mario said, I'll be just like him if I don't. He stopped, and he got this man's car started, and this man was calling him all kinds of nasty words concerning his culture and his race. But Mario said, I'm going to fix his car, and I'm going to let him see how it feels. They're turning against him, so to speak. So this was the type of kid he was. He didn't harbor hatred. He didn't harbor it. He didn't. And I know he was telling me, Mama, I'm okay. I'm okay. So I want you to know who's going to listen to this. Just, you're going to get through this. You can get through this. You got to hold on, though. You're not alone. You got to connect. Talk about your loved one. Talk about the fun things that you did. Go through the halls of healing. Don't digress. You'll be fine.